Hi everybody, well, Red Falcon's flight system Heliz mod is absolutely fantastic and brings a very straightforward and simple way of adding really well flying helicopters to your DayZ PC community servers. However, you may well be saying, well actually Rob, I would like to add them to my DayZ community server. And so what I've done is I've knocked up some XMLs that allow you to do just that. So what these XMLs do is they spawn in fully working helicopters at these locations on DayZ. So that means the helicopters spawn in with all their bits on them, and then in the cargo of the helicopters there's some fuel as well. So all your players have to do is get the fuel out and then pour that into the helicopter, and then they can go. I've also included in the back of the helicopters, I think I've got a spare battery in each of them, just in case the battery goes flat, and also a can of hydraulic fluid as well, because Red Falcon may well introduce the need for hydraulic fluid with these helicopters as well, so you'll be able to use that. Now, obviously, you'll have to have a working version of DayZ working on your community or your local server, and then what you need to do is you'll need to go over to my GitHub, which I've put a link in the description below this video. And what you'll find in the GitHub is there's various photographs of where the helis are, and there's some, so you can find them in the different places, so you know what to expect. I do enjoy taking pictures in DayZ editor. And then more importantly, there is the readme.txt. Now what you can do is, if you want to, you can code and you can download the zip of all these files, and then unzip it or unpack it on your local PC. But the README includes everything that you need to know on how to install these files. So basically what it says is, it says, look, just be careful if you install this. And remember, I am not associated with Red Falcon in any way. I just produce these XMLs on my own. So he may, or his team may well produce their own XMLs, which will probably be better than mine at some point. But until he does, you might find these useful. And then it goes a little bit on how to install the flight heli mods. And there's these XML snippets. And that's why these are very easy to install. So for example, the first XML snippet you just put into your events folder, events file just at the top, and that puts in the different events that make the B105M, the Little Bird, the Bell 429 and the K26 spawn in. And then there's the types.xml. And what the types.xml does is it makes it so that the things can spawn in on the map as well, but it also includes all the spare parts for the helicopters. So if you decide to alter the CFG spawnable types file so the helicopters don't spawn in, say, with their hydraulic hoses, this modded types.xml file will make sure they spawn in. So if we scroll down a bit, you can probably see, there we go. So the heli wiring harness, so 20 of them will spawn in as tools in industrial areas on the floor, and an igniter plug. So that goes in your types. And then there's the CFG spawnable types.xml snippet. So you insert that in there. And this is the one that tells the game that when the helicopters spawn in, they should spawn in with all their bits inside them. So all the bits, in them. And also the stuff that should go in the storage. Also in the storage at the back, I slipped in a deagle, a pilot's helmet, some bullets and a suppressor as well, because I thought that would be quite good as a pilot. So that's quite long. And then finally there is the CFG event spawn.xml file, which is this bit here. So you insert this into your CFG event spawn.xml at the top, and this is the bit that tells the game where it should spawn these in. And I've put descriptions of where they are as well. Now, if you want it so that there's a bit of randomness to where these helicopters spawn in, so they're not always at these locations, then what you would do is add more spawn points. So if you add more spawn points, for example, to the BO105M, there's only 3 BO105Ms that are going to spawn in on the map. So if you add, another 17 spawn points, that means that they will be randomly spread across those spawn points. Also remember that the way that events work in DayZ is that, say with this KA26, so we know that there's meant to be 5 KA26s that spawn in on Deer Isle using these particular XMLs. Now, when 5 of them are spawned in, if people take them and fly them around and take them to their bases or various places, 5 more don't spawn in. All right, they'll only spawn in if those original helicopters are destroyed. So this will give you those helicopters on a fresh server. It's not like if someone takes one, another one's going to spawn in its place. The game, it doesn't work like that at all. So just be aware of that. So helicopters are still going to be pretty rare, but if you do use these files, that is where they will be spawning in. And that's it really. So you add those snippets into your XMLs, you save, and then you restart your server, and you'll have these wonderful helicopters spawning in on Deer Isle. Which I tell you what, if there's a map that really benefits from having helicopters, because there's so many different places to explore, so many different points of interest, Deer Isle is definitely it. Okay, well, hopefully you found that useful. If you have, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.